Hello, everybody. Welcome to Torn Tuesday, your weekly dose of all things Hobbit, Lord of the Rings. I'm Justin, and that's Cliff.
Well, hello there. You know what? My name's Clifford, and that guy over there is Justin. And welcome, everybody, to theonering.net. We're not talking about 19 rings. We're not talking about three. We're not talking about seven or even nine. We're talking about the one ring.
The
And there is only
one.
one. There is only one Lord of the Rings, and he does not share power. Now, let's talk about this.
Wait,
It's
he
so
does share
interesting.
power because he gives out
It's
powerful rings.
no, hold on. That's so silly. He does not share. He creates the illusion. He totally, we're talking Anatar and his evil schemes. He starts off like, oh, I'm going to share power with you. But no, it's a ruse. Don't fall for it, kids. Anyways, we've got a lot to talk about, and there's news and there's rumors, and we might even have some time to bring in the audience so we can actually parse some of this stuff out together. It's great to have you
Yes.
here with us. Great to have
We are
everybody here.
we
Welcome,
are
welcome.
live on Facebook, on YouTube, on Twitch, on Twitter. Anywhere we can be live, we try to be live. Everyone wearing dope hats during this stream? Yes, we are. Thank you, Will Smith, for pointing that out. Mine is a Lord of the Rings Return of the King embroidered hat. Cliff has got his wonderful Tatara.
Oh, I'm gonna slap you so hard, okay? He knows better, but ladies and gentlemen, if you're a fan of Miyazaki, you know that this is my neighbor Totoro. Yes, and he lives right down there. He's my neighbor, right next to me. Gosh.
Well,
Anyways, this
Cliff,
is
we have a
crazy
ton
talk.
to talk about. Let's just jump into it right now. Breaking
Mm.
news. Wait, no, it's not a new Aragorn statue from Sideshow Collectibles. Wait, it's not Star Trek Prodigy gets season 2 renewal. Congrats to Bonnie Baggins, who was just on the show last week. She's now on season 2. Wait,
Whoa,
it's
hey,
not.
that's big news. That's great.
Wait,
They automatically
a
got a new season two. That's great.
Fellowship of Fans is stepping down. The number one source for leaks for this Amazon show has announced he's stepping down. No, that's not it. Wait, New Zealand has announced that a bat is the bird of the year. The New Zealand country bird of the year is a bat. What a weird thing. No,
What?
the big news of the
What?
day is Peter
What?
Jackson is selling Weta Digital. Peter Jackson is selling Weta Digital. This is
But
huge, huge news.
but that's wild because he created that company along with his partner, Sir Richard Taylor. Is that right?
No, he created it with his life partner, Fran Walsh.
Oh, so Weta Digital, I thought was like a separate, like it's separate from their production company, 3 Foot Six, and rather Wingnut Films,
That's
isn't it?
correct.
Am I to understand in a business proprietary type of way that Weta Workshop and Weta Digital are different companies, but they're part of the same, right?
They are
Okay,
they are
okay,
sister companies.
sister companies.
Weta Digital is the digital place where they created Massive and everything else. And it was
Oh, that was the software that made all those armies look so realistic 20 years ago.
That's right. No one had done big armies like that. And if you, Cliff, do you remember when we were talking to Jim Rigel and the visual effects supervisors on Lord of the
Oh,
Rings?
yes,
They
yes.
said what attracted them to work on Lord of the Rings and move to New Zealand for years was they were doing these magic stuff with Massive.
Mm-hmm.
Magic stuff. Uh, so the chat room is a buzz right now. What is going on? They want to know what is Unity. What is Unity? Well, as
Hold
the
on.
headline
Now
says, Unity
there's,
is buying Peter Jackson's Weta Digital. We're gonna go into and explain how this all came about and everything like that. But
okay.
Cliff, you were saying?
Well, I was just trying to parse the distinctions so that we begin with the audience, knowing where we are on this page. It's like Weta. physical workshop, Weta Digital, and his production company, Wingnut Films, are like three separate things. However, is it true that Peter Jackson was the owner and the first owner and helped create Weta, both sides of Weta, the digital and the workshop side?
Yeah,
Didn't
he's partial owner of all of it.
okay. So, but I don't understand why he would therefore sell, because everything about the New Zealand movie making infrastructure is all about Weta and Post Park Road Post, which is another post production company. It's called Park Road Post, and that's also separate from Weta Digital. Is that correct?
That's another Peter Jackson company. So
Okay,
uh,
okay.
so basically how this works out, and George Lucas did this earlier, right? George Lucas.
I was going to mention Lucas as a comparable story. Yes.
So George Lucas created Lucasfilm, but he also created Pixar, but he also created Industrial Light and Magic, but he also
Mm-hmm.
created Skywalker Sound. Uh,
Yes.
but he also
Right.
created LucasArts Games. So
Right.
there's the five company of George Lucas. Peter Jackson did a similar thing. He's got Weta Workshop to do costumes and physical things. He's got Weta Digital to do digital effects. He's got Park Road Post to do editing, and Wingnut
Mm.
Films to produce. So uh, so this is huge news, and this is going to change the game. So I guess the big thing is the fans don't know how to react here, because I see in the chat room, this is terrible news. This is fun news. This is terrible. How are we supposed to feel? There's people in the question in the chat room asking, is this good? Is this bad? Cliff, I guess we should explain who is buying Weta Digital. So first off,
Well,
the pri-
we should also try to illustrate or maybe illuminate how these companies work with Peter on his productions, but how they also work with other companies on their productions. Let's clear the air a little bit, okay?
okay.
Weta Workshop was originally created to support the Lord of the Rings trilogy endeavor. Isn't that correct?
Well, any Peter
Or
Jackson movie, Bad
oh,
Taste,
but
and
they had been in effect. They had been in business way before, working on the Frighteners and Heavenly Creatures, of course.
Bad Taste, and everything
Yeah,
else.
yeah, okay, okay. Now, going forward, we assumed that they would stay together and that Peter would, be the owner or the co-owner along with Richard Taylor, right? Because
That's right.
everything that's down there, that's being made down in New Zealand, including them collaborating on television shows and other motion pictures and other things, that's all part of one bundle. I think most of us conceptualize these companies as all one entity, a single entity, but they're really not.
Yeah, it's separate companies. So Weta Digital is the digital arm of Peter Jackson's imagination. Weta
Hmm.
Digital is responsible for James Cameron's Avatar,
Hmm.
which,
Right.
let's remind everybody, is the highest grossing film of all time, the best 3D film ever made, and they're making 3 or 4 sequels, or they have been, all during the pandemic. James Cameron's been down there working with Weta Digital, uh, making Pandora and all the sequels, all digital. Um,
Wow.
they also worked on all the Avengers movies, and they worked on Shang Chi, and they even worked on Eternals uh,
Mm.
that we just saw this week. So Weta Digital works on some of all of the biggest films. It is probably top three biggest visual effects firms. So
And
when
will the sale of this company mean that they're not going to be working on Peter Jackson films anymore?
So here's what's going on. Peter Jackson is selling Weta Digital for $1.6 billion. $1.6 billion. That's more money than the entire Lord of the Rings trilogy grossed.
That's wild. That is really wild.
The visual effects tools that made Lord of the Rings possible are now worth more than the Lord of the Rings itself made. And what
That's
Peter
just
Jackson's doing is
mind-boggling. That's mind-boggling, really.
he is keeping the creatives. He's keeping the animators
Hmm.
and the artists, and he's putting them all in a company called Weta FX. So
Hmm.
Weta FX is now the visual effects company, and it's only artists and animators.
Hmm.
And Weta Digital that is being sold includes all of the computer programs and the apps and the development pipelines and the technology
Hmm.
that Weta made in house to make Lord of the Rings and Avatar and all these other movies. So basically, they're selling massive. Everyone is very familiar with massive, and they're selling all of the digital tools that have won all these Oscars and made possible all of these big films. So Peter Jackson is keeping the animation studio, but he's selling the digital tools that the animators use. Does that make sense?
It does. Keeping the artists, but selling the artist toolbox.
Yes.
That's an interesting distinction. Okay, I'm glad you explained it that way.
Yeah.
Cool.
So
Okay.
that's what's being sold. He is selling the toolbox. Yeah, he's selling the
Wow.
toolbox for
Wow.
$1.6 billion. Emily asks in the chat room, but
Wow.
if they sell Massive, how will they use Massive in the future? That's a great question. The answer is uh, when this deal is done, Weta FX will be the number one customer of the toolbox. So rather than owning all the tools, now another company will own all the tools, and Weta FX will be licensing the tools to use.
Next
So,
question from this is a good question from Marfles. And hello, Marfles, and everybody in the YouTube chat. I can see you. It's wonderful to have you here. But the question is, what about that new Amazon series that we've been hearing a little bit about? I mean, not much, but we've heard a little bit about this Amazon series. And Marfles is asking, is Weta Digital currently working on their show? And I'm not quite sure because
oh wait,
everybody
we
packed
we
up.
can't talk about this yet.
Well, everybody packed, but everybody packed up their bags in New Zealand, and the production moved over to Europe, right?
Practical production.
Okay, but that doesn't mean post-production could not conceivably still be done in New Zealand. Hmm.
This is true. I mean,
Well,
they've worked on
okay.
all these movies. So, I guess the way we can say this is the official word is
Hmm.
there is no word. There has not been any word officially from Amazon or Weta that anybody's working together.
That's true. And so the answer is we can only speculate at this point, right?
I
Right.
will I will say this:
Hmm.
the Weta has hired many people from Amazon in the last 2 years.
Hmm.
Weta
Right.
Digital and
Right.
Weta FX. Weta Digital and Weta FX have been hiring senior Amazon engineers from AWS Cloud and technical roles uh, to help put Weta's work in the Amazon cloud. So
Hmm.
Weta has actually been uh, pay, paying to put all of their pipeline and work in the Amazon cloud. Amazon is such a
Hmm.
big company. There's all these different things. This is why it gets confusing. So, does Weta Digital hiring Amazon executives, technical executives, mean that Weta Digital is working on Amazon's Lord of the Rings show?
Good question. So it's something we really don't know at all. Wow. Okay.
Uh, Another
Hmm.
question from the chat, Cliff. You can answer this because there's a new thing coming out soon. Is Peter Jackson retiring then?
Oh, hey. Hello, Daffyd Brooks. Hello. Gosh, no. Peter's about to launch a massive Beatles documentary, which has become a multiplicity of Beatles documentaries all in one big cluster. And he's busy, busy, busy at work right now. No, Peter Jackson is nowhere near retiring. The
And
only, the only,
he's
the
got a
only
new
person,
trilogy out. He's got a new trilogy coming out in 2 weeks.
yeah, that multiple Beatles documentaries all in one triple set. You know, the only major filmmaker that I've been listening in the news lately is I'm going to retire. I'm definitely going to be retiring. And that's just Hayao Miyazaki. But every time he does that to the audience, he tells us a big fib. And then we find out 3 or 4 years later, he's busy in development on a new animated film or a new project. So, no, Miyazaki is not retiring. And no, neither is Peter Jackson. So, intriguing.
He can't retire. He owes us the Unicorn Edition of Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, hey,
And Charlotte
that's fair.
asks the question: what practical effects could this have for future Peter Jackson projects? Would he have less input on future movies, and how could it affect Weta Workshop and Weta Digital working together in the future? I'll take a
Can
stab at that.
Can you imagine? Imagine Peter doing a major film, and then all of a sudden, Weta Digital says, "Oops, we're busy. We got too many other projects working with other filmmakers. We can't fit you in, Peter."
So
Can you
first,
imagine that? And that would be crazy.
first off, let's just put the big elephant on the table, guys. Peter Jackson is now a billionaire.
Mm,
A
I don't know.
billionaire with a capital B. $1.6 billion. Peter Jackson, the man, and his wife, Fran Walsh, are billionaires with this deal. They have money to do whatever they want. George Lucas famously funded the Star Wars prequels himself. So
Hmm.
every dollar of the Star Wars prequels, that was his personal money, and every dollar that those prequels made, that was his money. This
Hmm.
$1 billion. Imagine what Peter Jackson can do with $1 billion.
I'm going to echo the question from Will in the chat room. What's the taxes on 1.6 billion New Zealand dollars? I
uh,
wonder.
I
I wonder.
wonder. I wonder. Um, so
Hmm.
he's decided to pull a George Lucas. What does that mean? Oh wait, you know what that means? George Lucas sold Lucasfilm to Disney for $3 billion. The interesting thing, Rebecca, about this is that it's not a George Lucas deal because George sold everything. He sold ILM, he sold Skywalker, he sold everything to Disney. Peter is only selling the toolbox. He is keeping the visual effects studio, he's keeping the Park Road Post, and he's keeping Weta Workshop. Richard Taylor and the Weta Workshop, they're untouched by this deal. Business as usual for them. And they will still be working with Weta Effects, the effects company.
Hmm.
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 Rory in the chat
Wow.
room says Peter Jackson's The Children of Huron, please. Uh,
Yeah.
guys, we've made a bunch of hooey about how Amazon is spending $1 billion on their Lord of the Rings show. Peter has the cash to do it himself now. Imagine, well, Christopher
Oh.
Tolkien and the family didn't really didn't really like Peter Jackson's films. I can't imagine he
Not
would
really. No, no, they did.
he would be allowed to license the Silmarillion or any other stories.
No, he. I don't think he is even in that business of Middle Earth anymore. Do you? Because
I don't think.
I don't think Peter is in that business of Middle Earth. Now I don't want to put a nail in the coffin, and I don't want to sound like that, but didn't we get the impression after the Hobbit trilogy that they were really done? They were pretty much done.
They're done.
And they said that.
Yeah.
That's why when the news came out about the animated feature, The War of the Rohirrim, it was something of a surprise because Philippa Boyens is deep, like granular, right in the foundational work on that feature film. But we all thought that they were all going to be done with it, including Philippa, Fran, and PJ. But it turns out,
So
just like that, just like that Miyazaki fib, when someone says, "Yeah, I'm done. I'm not doing that anymore," and then years later they come right back and say, "Hi, I'm back at work and I'm doing this again." So,
and to be clear, Peter and Fran, who are married in real life, they are pretty. I think they're pretty much out of Middle Earth. But Philippa Boyens is back in Middle Earth because she is doing the War of the Rohirrim anime movie at New Line. So, so there's a lot going on. Now, Cliff, stay with me because I'm going to rapid fire a bunch of information about this deal because
okay.
I just got to get it out of my system. So, folks, let me bring it up on screen. Folks, do you
Okay.
remember the Social Network? Do you remember the Social Network? You know, the MySpace movie? Because
Yep.
I'm going to go crazy. So, the MySpace movie, remember Justin Timberlake's character was this .com guy that founded Napster. His name was Sean Parker. So I got a picture up on screen.
Sean Parker notoriously tried to get Ian McKellen to officiate his wedding dressed up as Gandalf. Remember that?
Well, Sean Parker had a big Lord of the Rings themed wedding and tried to get Ian McKellen to officiate. He had the biggest Lord of the Rings wedding in history, I would say. Everyone had to dress as elves and dwarves and stuff. So Sean Parker, who was played by Justin Timberlake, if you've been following the show, you would already know this, but Sean Parker bought into Weta Digital during the pandemic. So Sean Parker there has owned half of or a quarter of Weta for a couple years now. So Sean Parker invested in it because of all the stuff that they had going on. They had Magic Leap stuff at Weta Digital. They had the Avatar movies and all the other stuff that James Cameron is doing with Avatar. So Sean Parker is a co-owner of Weta Digital. So now that they've split Weta Digital into two entities, one is the Toolbox that is being sold, and one is Weta FX, which is the artists that do the animator. Now, to give you a context of how big each company is, the visual effects, the Weta FX, with all the artists, has 1,700 employees. The Toolbox has 275 employees. So we have, 275 versus 1,700. There's a big difference. So you can see that most of the creatives, most of the people are in the creative business. So they're selling the smaller part of this. Again, 1.6 billion is a huge. So Sean Parker, co-founder of Facebook, invested. Well, he didn't found Facebook, but he was the first investor on Facebook. And you all watch the Social Network, and you know the story of Sean Parker. So Sean Parker's a huge Lord of the Rings fan. He bought into Weta. A couple weeks ago, Facebook, which Sean Parker is also a little co-owner of, announced that they were changing their name to Meta, and they want to build something called the metaverse. The metaverse is an abstract theory and an abstract concept that no one should really own. that is basically, it's just a virtual world. Think Second Life. Look, you guys have played Lotro, Lord of the Rings Online. That
Hmm.
is considered a metaverse because you log in and you are that character. You
Hmm.
transact commerce. You hang out with your friends. You go on raids. Every that can be considered
Right.
a metaverse. So,
Right.
Facebook, which Sean Parker also owns, announced that they're getting into the metaverse business. Now, the company buying Peter Jackson's Weta Digital is Unity as they
Mm.
prepare for the metaverse. What does that mean? Unity is a video game company that makes the video game uh, tools. So they're a toolbox company, basically, for simplicity. So the toolbox company uh, has made the tools that other companies build upon. For instance, Pokemon Go. Have you guys played Pokemon Go? Then you have used Unity. Have you guys played the Harry Potter version of Pokemon Go? Have you guys played almost every game on iPhone? Have you guys played Mario Kart on mobile? Uh, have you guys played any of that? All of the most games, I'd say the majority of games, uh, are made in Unity. Not only do they make the game platform that games build on, they also make a bunch of virtual reality tools. So that's what they're famous for.
But
Unity's
Pokemon
big.
Pokemon Go is an AR, an augmented reality game. I play Pokemon Go on my phone, and it's published by Niantic. I didn't know that they were in bed with a company called Unity. I didn't know that.
They're not in bed. They license the tools. Again,
Ah,
Unity is a
okay,
tool
okay,
chest.
right,
Unity is a tool chest, and they are buying Peter Jackson's toolbox. That's what's being sold here.
okay.
Unity is a tool chest to make games and stuff, and
Mm.
they're buying Peter Jackson's tool chest. Now, what is the metaverse? Why does the headline say why are they buying Peter Jackson's to help prepare for the metaverse? Because Peter Jackson's tools are the best in the business, and they allow you to create. One of the magic things about Lord of the Rings was massive, right? You could create these orc armies in way less time. You could create massive fields. Remember the work they did on the horse run at the Pelennor Fields, and you've seen the visual effects plates where they have digital horses running next to real horses, and then there's like low res horses in the back and stuff like that. So Weta has had all of these tools that do awesome hair effects, awesome uh, motion capture for the Avatar films. Cliff, also, I guess we should we maybe not Avatar. Let's talk about Andy Serkis' Planet of the Apes trilogy.
Oh, hello. Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, Rise of the
Rise.
Planet of the Apes, and War of the Planet of the Apes. Absolutely fantastic, fantastic, fantastic series of films. Mind blowing. Was there a connection?
So these are the tools that Peter Jackson developed or his team developed at Weta
Yeah.
Digital made Planet of the Apes possible. So these are the tools that are going into the tool chest of Unity in order to help people create their own metaverse.
Oh,
So,
okay.
for the
Well, the
first time ever, if you are an independent game developer and you want to build something cool in the metaverse, like Pokemon Go or something else, you can sign up on Unity for free.
Oh, okay.
And
Look, everybody here in the chat is helping explain. Thank you, Dan. Dan H Bytes. Cliff, you know Unreal Engine. Unity is a game engine. Many games run on. Yes, I'm starting to get the picture now. Thank you. Mythical One says Unity is one of the two major video game engines. The other being Unreal Engine. There are many other game engines, and some companies make their own engine depending upon the game. Coolness. Okay, now I'm starting to grasp this. While everybody else in the whole chat room is screaming, Lord of the Rings, go! The Silmarillions, go! Like, that's the augmented reality game that we all want next, right? Okay,
That's right. Well,
that's
it's not out of
hilarious.
line. So basically,
Okay,
Unity is buying the tool chest, the toolbox that Peter Jackson developed that has been
okay.
secret, that has been Weta. They've never made their tools available. It's never been available in the cloud or anything else. The only way anyone in the world could use Weta Digital's tools was moving to New Zealand. So
Okay.
this
Okay.
deal, this deal allows these tools to be put in the hands of everybody, every animator, developer, game engine, movie engine, whatever you want.
Wow.
In in
Wow.
in a year's time, I predict that all of us here that have an interest in this stuff will be able
Yeah.
to play with Massive for the first time in our lives. We'll be able to play with Massive
On
and
our own, like,
create our own orc armies and then put them in a Pokemon Go situation so I can like look out my door and there's an orc army standing there and I can pretend that I'm Saruman saying to war.
oh, really? This is very, very intriguing. So, if you have your own, computer system, you'll be able to access these visual AR tools.
Yeah. So so what they're calling AR, AR is now called the metaverse basically. VR and AR are combining and everyone's starting to call it the metaverse. So, again, let's circle back. There's Facebook.
Mm,
There's Sean Parker. Sean Parker owns Facebook. Sean Parker partially owns Weta Digital. Facebook announces they're renaming the company Meta to play in the metaverse. Unity buys uh, tools to make the metaverse happen. So now everybody's in the metaverse. Sean Parker is doubly in the metaverse. Sean Parker is now in the metaverse because he owns Facebook, and now he's in the metaverse because he just made $1 billion selling the tools to make the metaverse possible.
wow. Okay. Wow. Okay. Intriguing.
It's crazy.
Well, intriguing.
It's a little
Um,
confusing, but
Sean
yes.
Sean Parker is not the sole owner, and your descriptor made it also almost sound like he is, but he's part
Sean
owner.
Parker, Fran Walsh, Peter Jackson, Joe Letteri, Oscar winner, VFX supervisor Joe Letteri, who was
Yes.
nominated for the Hobbit movies and Lord of the Rings. You've seen him on
Yes.
all the behind the scenes. So, those are the owners. Those are the people that are making some money on this deal. Peter Jackson is now a billionaire. He can make whatever movie he wants.
I was just watching a clip from The Return of the King. This is the part where Shelob makes her grand entrance and starts attacking poor Frodo, and I'm just like, oh God, it's just scary and mesmerizing as usual.
That's right.
But
So you
that's
know what? As
that's
we've been
fat. That
talking,
I'm just saying this is all fascinating, but it's a lot of like backdoor company shenanigans that, when we're talking like where we are on the street level with the fans, we all want to know how that impacts, what we're going to be seeing from Peter and his work. Um,
what
I'm
I
sure they're
think
doing.
this does, what I think this does is the other part of the deal is not only is Unity buying 275 computer programmers, and
Mhm,
not only are they buying the toolbox,
mm.
they are buying Weta Digital's entire library of rocks, trees, and everything digital they made for Lord of the Rings and Hobbit and every movie that they've made. That's what they're selling. So, in the near future, it's quite possible that we could get a library of stuff we can download of the actual Hobbit hole digital backgrounds that Weta Digital created. It's pretty crazy. But to better explain it, I've got a video from Weta that just came in. So we're gonna play that right now. So Cliff, hold on a sec, and let's play a video of
Okay.
what this means.
Okay.
The new era of creativity is really, something bigger than it's ever been before.
Unity's really been focused on this mission that the world's a better place with more creators in it. But what we see now is that there's a new generation of creators that are going to want to, imagine even more in rich 3D experiences.
Avatar or Lord of the Rings or Wonder Woman wouldn't have been possible without Weta's tools and the great artists behind them.
We knew that digital effects offered so much possibility for us to be able to create the worlds and the creatures that we were imagining.
Now we're taking those tools that we have created and handing them over to Unity to market them for the entire world.
Well, together, Unity and Weta Digital can create a pathway for any artist in any industry who will now be able to leverage these incredible creative tools.
Now those tools will escape the Weta world and they'll be available to everywhere.
We see that being used in just about every industry you can imagine, from retail to medicine to film and TV and gaming, of course.
I think for a generation to come, Weta is going to be one of Unity's most important partners and probably our greatest source of inspiration.
Offering new and aspiring creatives access to Weta Digital's technology will be game-changing.
We're incredibly excited to continue that deep partnership where we work with them as they are working on their next movies, as they continue to sort of create. But the real magic here is what both of us are each also independently great at.
What we do the best is what we make incredible VFX shots and animation clips for film and TV.
And we are going to be great at take all of that innovation and make it accessible to a much broader set of creators around the world.
Guys, isn't that amazing? Did you know that Weta is responsible for the epic Endgame, Avengers Endgame fight that everyone freaked out about in the theater? So the fact is, if you're sitting at home and you're a student and you want to work on Lord of the Rings in the next 10 years for Amazon, starting next year, you'll be able to download the tools and teach yourself how to use the tools, and then put your CV in, put your resume in, and you'll probably get a job.
Okay, that's pretty wild. I'm starting to get a bigger picture of what this means for this, availability of these digital tools. Wow, intriguing.
That's right.
I had no idea.
I'm telling you, anyone that's ever wanted to work on Lord of the Rings, this is the best news you could possibly have, because now they're going to make the tools that Weta actually uses available to everybody, so you could learn how to do some of this stuff using the actual tools that Weta uses, and that looks good on a resume, dude. Like, if you're like,
Indeed.
Oh yeah, I know that program. Sweet, show me what you got.
This is great. Mythical in the live chat says, start now because learning Unity is fun and accessible. And yeah, it's accessible, that's for sure. I didn't know that yet. Wow.
Another question in the chat: can't Weta just move all their stuff to America or replicate their tech for all the big companies? That's the trick. That's the thing, is that the way Weta has worked for 20 years is that they've never made their tools available to anyone, anywhere. It's always been Weta only. So if you got a job at Weta during the last 20 years to work on King Kong, Avatar, Pirates of the Caribbean, Avengers Endgame, you went to New Zealand, you relocated to New Zealand, and you had to learn a whole new set of software.
Oh, I see. Right.
Yeah, so they've never been able to offer the tools. Weta has never figured out how to offer the tools. Unity, that is their sole business. Their business is making tools that everyone can use. So this makes it way more accessible, so more people can work at Weta.
I wonder what the applications in medicine would be. That was mentioned in the video, but I wonder what that could be.
Well,
Probably mapping out a genome, the human genome, probably using the visual effects materials for mapping out enzymes and proteins that they're trying to break apart to see how they work, to see how they can fight infectious disease with like visual analysis of things on the microbial level. That might be interesting to use. It's fascinating,
Yeah.
really.
The chat room wants to remind us accurately that Unity, the game platform, the animation platform, is actually free. You can right now. You could go sign up at Unity, download the software, and start making a game. Start making the next Pokemon Go by yourself. Learn it, use it, deploy it, and it's free until you have 100,000 users on your game, or free until you make $100,000, and then only after your game is a success do they start charging for use. So literally,
a license. Technically, a license comes into effect after you're successful with it.
So
That's a weird business approach. I've never heard of that either. That's very intriguing.
As you saw in that video that we just showed, there's a ton of assets. There's bridges and rock work and trees and rivers that a lot of it came from Middle-earth that are going to be available in these asset libraries that you can use. So literally, there is a chance that you could recreate Lothlorien or the Lonely Mountain with assets that were used in the movies, and create your own version or your own corner of Erebor, and play along, and that's your metaverse. It has tons of free assets. Unity is tons of free assets. So we've got another video here announcing the deal. Again, if you're just joining us, Peter Jackson is selling Weta Digital's toolbox to game developer Unity for $1.6 billion. So let's play this second video.
When you're making a film, every piece has to work. The thing that you know about visual effects is if a shot fails, you lose your audience.
The world-class team at Weta have created stunning visuals using state-of-the-art suite of artist tools, and they have won 6 Academy Awards. Each Weta tool has been created to make the best way to create content for each specific need. These tools surprise every time with their power, their flexibility, their sophistication.
We've got years and years of visual effects experience that has been dedicated really towards creating films, like Lord of the Rings, like King Kong, like The Hobbit, like Avatar. Now we're hoping to see what other artists can do with this as we release these tools into the wider world.
Together, Unity and Weta Digital will bring these tools to not just VFX artists, but to game developers and artists across industries, and over time to millions of consumer creators. By putting this new pipeline into the cloud, we will be connecting every real-time 3D device available, creating a unified ecosystem, not just for gaming and movies, but the metaverse and beyond.
This is huge, guys. I mean, look at those movies. You saw how those scenes come together. The trees are digital, the bridge is digital, the waterfall's digital. The actors, are the actors digital? Maybe. I know there are a lot of shots where the dwarf actors of The Hobbit are all digital. So basically, everything that you just saw, you could learn to make and use potentially for free. We don't know if they're going to have a price on this stuff, but Unity is known for giving out their tools for free, so anyone can learn how to be an animator or game developer. Basically, what this deal is, Cliff, is Peter Jackson is like, 20 years ago we made Lord of the Rings. Now I want everybody to learn to make Lord of the Rings.
Do you know what? I think that my kitty cat approves of this new thing. Yes, don't you approve? Yeah, my cat thoroughly approves. Hello, Mithrandir. Mithrandir says, "Hi, everybody. How you doing?" He totally approves of this. But I just can't I mean, look, way back in the 1980s, I learned how to program using BASIC. I learned how to sit on a disk operating system on an old computer using DOS 1.0, believe it or not, and I was programming in BASIC language. If I could do that, I'm sure I'm sure that I could sit down with Unity and learn those tools. I'm sure I could.
Cliff, how many people have we talked about in the Tolkien fandom, in the community here, that their dream job is to work at Weta?
It is. That's all we ever hear. That's all I ever hear all the time is, hey, can you help me get my resume over to Weta? I want to work there. That's all I ever hear. But now it's kind of like, with this kind of stuff out in the world, aren't you kind of expected to come to the table more prepared? I guess now the people who will be applying for these jobs are going to be all like self-training, like homeschooling themselves in essence, so that there isn't they're going to be more learned in the software just by on their own volition before they even walk into the job.
Will in the chat room wants to tell everybody there are tons of free tutorials on YouTube. In fact, that's how most people learn. They watch tutorials on YouTube. They download the free Unity software or development environment or development kit, whatever what they call it, and they just start learning. You could literally make the next Pokemon Go. In fact, if you've got a development environment, you can download it for free. You could make your own Erebor virtual thing and never put it on the App Store. It's only for you. So you could literally walk around with your own phone on your own environment and just like live in Erebor with your phone.
That's so cool.
Like this is amazing.
You know what? Parents, tell your kids to stop programming all those levels in Minecraft. Just tell them to stop wasting your time. Tell your children to pick up this software and learn it instead of all those Minecraft levels that they're trying to, customize.
Steam has so many indie games that are just made by one person. I'm telling you, Unity is an amazing piece of software because one persons are making amazing games and experiences just themselves, and then releasing it on Steam, releasing it on the Apple App Store or Android App Store. Now that they have all of Weta's digital tools, it's going to it's just, what this allows. If Amazon allowed it or New Line Cinema allowed it, like New Line could now make a deal with a developer to make Lord of the Rings assets available for a game, so someone could create a Pokemon Go of Middle-earth.
A Middle-earth Go.
A Middle-earth Go. This allows another company to go make it, because now the tools that can read all of the files that Weta made, now the tools are out in the open, so this allows other companies to jump in and say, now we can read the file. Now let's.
Oh wow.
Let's go do it.
An important reminder that if you're going to publish and make your own game with Middle-earth anything, you're going to have to get the license not from Unity. You're going to get the license from Saul Zent's company, doing business as Middle-earth Enterprises. That's right, Middle-earth Enterprises. How about that?
So, I guess, Cliff, this is good news all around because, one, the tools are in the hands of fans. The tools could be free if history shows. Unity has a free business model, free to make business model. So fans can learn how they made thing. They can use assets that were used on The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings. They can possibly use it for free. You can build your own game or your own company around this stuff. And on the flip side, Peter Jackson is now a billionaire. He never has to work in his life again. And now he has the money to make any movie he wants.
Any project he wants.
Project he wants.
He's, you know what, bless his heart, but in that video, he is looking quite a bit older now. I don't want to.
Look, we're all old,
But
Cliff. We're all
I'm
old.
I'm like, I love Peter so much, but I'm looking at that video and I'm like, who put him in the Rip Van Winkle machine and made his hair all white and his beard is all white, and all of a sudden Peter Jackson has gone from Peter the Gray to Peter the White. Sorry, I had to.
Well,
I had to. That was stupid. That was so stupid. I'm sorry, guys. I had to do that. Anyways,
well,
well,
that's
okay,
the
no,
big.
hold
That's
on.
the big. That's the big news. I mean, Cliff,
That-
this is
that's
this
very
is
big
huge.
news. That is very, very big news. Princess Toy Nerd in the live chat. Do not stop working on your fan film. You can do your Middle-earth fan-made movie, and the only time you have to actually pay money and license that stuff is if you're monetizing it, right? Right.
Yeah, if you're trying to sell it or put ads on your video, yeah.
Yes. If you're, that's it.
But
Otherwise, you
imagine-
can go ahead and make your fan film. That's fine. That's fine.
Princess Toy
Yes.
Nerd, imagine you go shoot your fan film, and now with these tools out there, you could actually go on the internet and find another fan to do the animation and partner with you and actually make the visual effects that you guys can dream up. Because now you have the same tools that Peter Jackson used to make Middle-earth. So y'all can be at the crack of doom, and someone can make the river flow, and now you can have make all the armies, like the huge massive armies, and this just opens up everything. It's the best. I'm just so happy for Peter. I'm happy for Peter, Sean Parker, and everybody at Weta that get to share in this, share in these tools and share on this. And I have a feeling that more people are going to want to work at Weta now that these tools will be out in the open. I just can't believe that Massive is going to be in the cloud. Like,
that is the weirdest thing. You know what? Maybe it's because these bits of visual effects software are so valuable. They are so valuable. That's why they stay, proprietary. This is really quite a surprise that this stuff is now going to be available to everybody now, instead of it being held secret within the company itself. I think it's pretty cool.
It's
pretty
quite
cool.
possible that the metaverse will be built on Peter Jackson's digital tools. Weta Digital's tools will make the metaverse more interesting, more dynamic, more people, more objects, more bears, more orcs. Yeah. Varking in the chat room says, more exposure and access to these tools is absolutely not a bad thing. This is correct. And so I just want to reiterate, for all of you that have ever dreamed of working on Lord of the Rings, I'm telling you, as soon as you can, download these tools. Hopefully they stay free with Unity. Start learning Unity right now. But get a hold of these tools as soon as they make them available, because the faster and better you get at these, the more likely you're going to get hired to work on Lord of the Rings, and you have 10 years. Remember, they're doing 10 years worth of television for Amazon's show. If they hire Weta Digital, we don't know if they're working on it, but
I mean, all the joking aside about working on the basic programming system about 45 years ago, I can use Adobe Photoshop, and I'm pretty good at it. I know my way around Adobe Photoshop. I wonder if the acumen that I have with visual editing in Adobe Photoshop or anything, a lot of other software packages for 2D editing. I wonder if I could take that basic skill set and then sit down in front of Unity and start learning and my learning curve would be a little bit easier. I wonder.
That's right.
I'm gonna
So
have to I'll take a closer look at this myself someday. I'm totally gonna have
anyway,
to do
so
that.
this is big news, and I think there's nothing. I think there's nothing but positivity and positive news out of this. I think the fans get rewarded, artists get rewarded, Peter
Mm,
Jackson gets rewarded, and who it just who knows what Peter will want to do now. He's got the Beatles trilogy coming up in a
hmm
couple weeks, and then
hmm
what? Like he has enough money now to literally do whatever he wants. He could fund a whole $100 million movie. He could make his own end game. He could actually has enough money
mm,
to fund Marvel's fourth slate by himself. I mean, this is
mm.
life changing for Peter and Fran. So congrats to them.
He could also buy me lunch next time he's here in Los Angeles too. Yes. So,
And Dan in the chat room says Unity is one of the easier game engines to learn. Again, that's what's amazing about this. It's not Unreal Engine or some of the other heavy duty Adobe products. The fact that Unity is buying Peter Jackson's Weta Digital and his tools, their whole thing is about making tools that are easy, easy in the industry to understand, to learn, and to innovate on. So they're going to do their best work integrating Weta Digital's pipeline and tools into the cloud and make it easy for people to understand. So, and so Arn wants to know, where can I apply to do classes with Weta Digital? Here's the thing, as people in the chat room keep pointing out, there are no classes with Weta Digital. You don't need classes with Weta Digital because based on this deal, you could do it on your own. You can literally sit at home, download Unity for free right now, go on YouTube, search up tutorials for Unity, and start learning it. And then you're ready when the Weta Digital pack comes around. So you don't even need to go to class. You can learn it at home on your own. That's what's amazing about this. So I'm so excited, and let's plan this out, Cliff. With these tools out there in the open, not just for fans to work for free, but big companies can now license these Weta Digital tools. Let's say they are working on Amazon's Lord of the Rings. This means that another company could start using screen accurate digital stuff for a video game. So
whoa, okay.
we've never seen a video game that used assets from the movie.
Intriguing. Do you know what else comes to mind? Since I work a lot in theater and in as a theater guy with my background in performance in theater, even this type of stuff can be used for projections or visual elements in live stage theater in ways, very creative ways, that have never been thought of before. I mean, stagecraft over the years has advanced and advanced in remarkable ways. But I don't think there's anything quite as convincing and really amazing to me than looking at The Mandalorian and watching that show and realizing that is really like a bloody stage set. And that projection tent that they're in is not a real world. It's a projection tent where the actors are inside it. And they can even use that technology, probably not as outrageously expensive, but a scaled down version of it that could make anything possible for a stage show, to make anything actually manifest on stage without it having to be giant wooden pieces and planks and metal pipes and physical things that are so like the good old days when they had to get things on stage working like that. So I guess the applications are very big across the performing arts and in cinema art and in television art and in video game construction and execution. But yeah, it's fascinating when you stop to think about it. You know what? Even like it seems something very remote that I wouldn't ever bother using. It might not be. It really might not be that remote from me myself. Even with my basic rudimentary Adobe Photoshop experience, I could actually sit down and pick up a few tricks. It's very
Robert
intriguing.
says
Very intriguing.
Robert mentions the fidelity level, and that is the magic of Weta's tools. Is that the core magic that helped Peter Jackson, helped the studio New Line Cinema agree to Peter Jackson's terms that he could make this on his own, is that these digital tools had full fidelity when needed. And that's the magic of Massive and all the tools that have come after, is that it only renders in high res the stuff that you need to see high res, and everything else, like all the orcs in the background. You remember in the appendices of Lord of the Rings, if you watch the behind the scenes, they said that there were basically 3 levels of quality on the orcs on the big battle of Helm's Deep, and there was like the high resolution close to camera, there was medium resolution behind those, and then there was low resolution at the very back. So you had these huge armies, but what you see is the highest fidelity. And so that was part of the magic that sold the studio on giving Peter all of the money, because he's like, we figured this out.
Indeed.
So I'm really excited for this. I'm really excited for what this enables Peter to do, and I'm really excited for what this enables the fans to do. And Cliff, let's game this out. The pace of technology is so fast. This phone is more powerful than a computer I had 5 years ago.
True.
Can you imagine season 5 of Amazon's Lord of the Rings? And you can watch the latest episode in your VR headset, in your Oculus headset, and be on the field during the War of the Ring.
I wonder if this is going to tie into Magic Leap. Remember the big announcement of Magic Leap?
Yeah, huge. And Weta Digital was the #1 developer for Magic Leap. And Weta Digital created some of the best tools for Magic Leap. That's another reason why Peter is getting $1.6 billion to sell these digital tools. It's not just from the films, but from all the work they did on Magic Leap, which I personally played with, and I saw the tools work at their best, and they were amazing. Amazing. The Magic Leap stuff that Weta Workshop did was amazing. And I know most of you haven't experienced this. Hopefully they will release it. But Weta Digital created a VR version of Erebor where Smaug chases you. There's a whole interactive VR experience that you have to have the goggles for, and you have to run. You have to escape Smaug in the Golden Horde. And it's an amazing VR experience. They never released it to the public. I hope that sees the light of day. Cliff, huge news. Peter Jackson's a billionaire.
Well, do you know what? Maybe he was a little while ago with the success of all the, with the success of the Lord of the Rings and the Hobbit trilogy under his belt. Maybe he was already.
He wasn't, because there were lawsuits about the returns on the Lord of the Rings movies. So we actually do know how much he probably made off of those movies. It wasn't $1 billion, I can promise you that.
Okay, all right. Well, I tell you what, he's definitely gone from Peter Jackson the Gray to Peter Jackson the White. I'll just say that much for him. Mm-hmm. And he's a billionaire.
There you go.
Wow, this has been a very interesting conversation, because we didn't even, for once, we didn't get into the Sarlacc pit with talking about Amazon Prime and their Lord of the Rings show. So I'm sorry that I'm mixing my Star Wars metaphors with a rings conversation, but we did not get into the Sarlacc pit today. That's okay, and
Oh,
that's okay.
we're gonna have some more stuff, and I feel I'm actually kind of sad that Fellowship of Fans is hanging up his cape. He's just been a wonderful. I don't know how he got his scoops, but that guy has done some amazing work during the pandemic, during filming, during the most crucial, critical, where there was no information about the Amazon show. So his announcement that he's hanging up the towel, good work, man. Like, good work.
Indeed, indeed. Yeah. Well, yeah. He's just taking a little break, I guess. Um, but you know, uh, let's take a look at the calendar going forward. Can we speculate a little bit? Can we go to Green Dragon gossip for just a few minutes before we close the show?
Yes.
Can we do that? All right. Hey, everybody. Thanks for coming to Torn Tuesday. We're now moving into the later segment of our show, and it is called Green Dragon Gossip. All right. We should canvass everybody online. Maybe I can construct an easy little Twitter poll, but if we're looking for the next big announcement, maybe it will be a press release. I don't know. Maybe it will be a special theatrical trailer or an online trailer.
We haven't even seen photos. It'll be photos. They always release
hold on.
photos.
I was about to get to that. It could be in print magazine. It could be a photograph or a series of photos that are not even online. They're like in the pages of Empire magazine. I'm just speculating very broadly, but I think we should ask ourselves, at least so we can mentally prepare for it, what we think the next big announcement will be. Will it be a big thing at New York Comic-Con? Strangely
New York
enough,
Comic-Con was a month ago.
Okay, strangely enough, San Diego Comic-Con has been moved up to Thanksgiving weekend. Will it be then?
2 weeks.
2 weeks away. It's 2 weeks.
We have a panel there. What a perfect tease and hype for our panel. I can't tell you what we're going to talk about, but you might want to be there. So in 2 weeks on Thanksgiving weekend, Friday after Thanksgiving, literally the next day after Thanksgiving, 6 p.m. down in San Diego. It's only in person. We're not streaming it.
Yeah.
I promise we'll have a good time.
We're going to have a great time. I bet you we're going to have a great time. But I'm just, you're right. We're going to have a wonderful time at San Diego Comic-Con. But I'm speculating when Amazon is going to, drop the next shoe. Are they going to do a splashy thing in the movie theaters or a big splashy thing at the convention? Are they going to do a simple online
Not movie
download?
theaters. Not movie theaters.
What? Wait, hold on. Who knows? Are they going to do a Super Bowl ad? Are they going to
That's what the chat room wants to say. Everyone in the chat room is like, it's going to be a Super Bowl ad. It's going to be.
I do. You know what? I do see a lot of people saying that now. Oh, there you go. People are saying that now. I didn't see that before. I did not see that. Okay.
Is Super Bowl the right venue? Is that the right play, guys? Because come on, let's be honest. Tolkien fans watching the Super Bowl, not a lot of crossover there.
Well, you know what?
Why would they do Super Bowl?
The regular generic audience. The generic audience that they want to capture, they're not watching all the San Diego Comic-Con stuff. So the Super Bowl ad maybe that's genius. Maybe that is exactly how they're going to reach not the grassroots fans who have already been talking about it for months and months. But what if they want to try to reach the generic fans that are not that tuned in? Maybe that is the way to do it.
Nerd of the Rings in the chat room says Tolkien fans will know about it anyway, getting the casuals by doing the Super Bowl. So you're on board with this Super Bowl.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. Well, I thought that it would be a convention thing, but then again, knowing how weird Amazon has been about this, it might be untethered to anybody or anything, and they might just say, surprise, here on Twitter, an announcement. And it might be completely unrelated to any event or place or thing. Who knows? It just might be a random thing. We don't know. But I think we should take a Twitter poll and ask our actual people, our community, and let's ask them what they want, or what they really want to see.
Well, the chat room is speaking. Everyone says the Super
They
Bowl
are.
is the right play. So
Yeah, yeah.
you know what?
I see that. I see
Okay.
that. But this is just the tip of the iceberg because we're talking to the live chat right now. It could be, we'll reach hundreds of thousands of more people on our Twitter feed instead, just by saying, here's a poll. But maybe if Amazon is listening, they'll start to look at the way the energy is moving with the fans, and they can get a sense, of what we're expecting. So
I think
very
they're
intriguing.
charting their own course, man. Like we're just along for
Yeah.
the ride. We're just along for the ride, dude.
Okay. Yeah. Well, there are big events that are just geek related conventions and events. So there are other opportunities. Look, DC Fandom is a thing. It's an entire separate thing that Warner Brothers and DC created as an online experience. So even it is within the power, it's certainly within the money, and it's within the power of Amazon Studios to create any similar online symposium of some kind that we haven't even thought of yet. It might be something outside of the box that we haven't even discussed. So imagine a DC fandom, but it's like Amazon doing their own special pre-release, publicity for their own stuffs, all their shows. And it might include, material and previews of the Wheel of Time. Hey, all you Robert Jordan fans out there, I know you're itching for more of that stuff, but yeah, they could include lots of reveals. Who knows? I'm just speculating. Well, anyways, so much for that.
The other news I should bring up. So Wheel of Time is coming out shortly. It's Amazon's little fantasy test case. It's a very expensive test case based on the books by Robert Jordan, I think. Neil Jordan, Michael Jordan.
Robert Jordan.
Wheel of Time comes out. It's Amazon's next effort at a fantasy series. It shares a director with Lord of the Rings, so there are elements. We've got to watch it through the lens of like, is this what we can expect from Lord of the Rings? But they shot it in different countries and stuff like that. So Wheel of Time is coming up.
Okay.
So
yeah,
here's how deep Amazon is getting into fantasy. They've got Carl Urban's The Boys. They've got Orlando Bloom's fantasy series with Cara Delevingne.
Carnival Row is not coming back.
It is.
No, sorry.
They're filming it right now.
I was just told yesterday that Carnival Row is not coming back.
Well, they're filming the new season right now. So they've got a show with
I'm confused.
Éomer.
I've heard something weird then.
They've got a show with Éomer. They've got a show with Legolas, a fantasy show. They've got Wheel of Time, and now Amazon has made a deal for Critical Role. So Critical Role will start airing on Amazon Prime now. So, and now Lord of the Rings. So it's obvious that Amazon is going all in on all aspects of fantasy. Critical Role, Wheel of Time, Lord of the Rings, and everything else. One-stop fantasy shop is Amazon Prime. So they have a year to get it right because Lord of the Rings is the granddaddy of them all.
Indeed.
So
indeed. Okay.
They have a year to get it right, so we can expect a lot of fun times in the fantasy. So there you go, Cliff.
Indeed. Wow.
I'm excited. I'm excited for the future of everything that we heard about Weta. It's a game changer. This is my New Zealand shirt because I'm so excited.
Hey, New Zealand All Blacks. You know your rugby teams, don't you?
So I'm ready. I'm ready to see what the fans come up with. I'm ready for Unity, and I'm ready for season 5 of Lord of the Rings to be a virtual experience in the metaverse. Let us live in the shores of Beleriand.
You know what? I would rather have my Lord of the Rings and Middle-earth virtual reality be completely unrelated to Mark Zuckerberg and his horrible, horrible Facebook garbage, because I'm very anti-Facebook and anti-Mark Zuckerberg. So I don't have any interest in Meta or whatever that stuff is he's doing.
My prediction.
I will admit.
My prediction
that I'm very cool with Magic Leap because it's
Magic
Richard
Leap
Taylor
is,
and our friends at Weta who made that. So.
yeah, but Magic Leap fired everybody, and they're pivoting into business only, and they're not making any more games. So Magic Leap, as far as a game platform, is dead. But my prediction in 3 years' time. So let's timestamp this video. My prediction: within 3 years' time, Sean Parker owns Facebook. Sean Parker owns Weta Digital. Sean Parker sells Weta Digital. Facebook creates Metaverse. I predict in 3 years' time, Facebook buys Unity and the tools that make the Metaverse possible. So it's possible. I predict that Peter Jackson's Weta Digital toolbox will be in the hands of Mark Zuckerberg within 3 years. That's my forward-looking statement.
Okay, we'll see.
That's what I think. Guys, this is Torn Tuesday. We're here every Tuesday, 5 p.m. Pacific. We deliver all the news, game, everything. Oh, speaking of, guess who we got coming up? Maybe next week, maybe the week after. I haven't told Cliff this. This is exclusive.
What are you not telling me?
We've got the developers of the new Lord of the Rings online expansion, The Fate of Gundabad, which comes out this week. The Fate of Gundabad online expansion for Lotro comes out this week.
Oh, how cool.
We're talking with the developers because I really want to get into the lore and how they're building their own part of the metaverse on Lotro, and how does Lotro compare to the metaverse? Like, when does it cross over from a game engine to the metaverse? I want to get into that, and I want to get into the lore. So, Cliff, now you know we might be talking with the developers of the new Lotro expansion pack, which comes out this week. You guys should check it out.
That is super, super cool. Also, thank you for letting me know ahead of time that we're going to have some surprise guests. I also anticipate, everybody, that pretty soon, within a couple of weeks, pending on his availability, we will have Royd Tolkien, great-grandson of J.R.R. Tolkien, who will come and share more wonderful, intimate stories and personal revelations from the release of his wonderful book, There's a Hole in My Bucket, and his upcoming extraordinary film of the same title. And also a special guest who's going to come up here and visit with us very soon, talking about his other new book release. We're going to be talking to
Ian Nathan.
The wonderful Ian Nathan, who recently published this extraordinary Guillermo del Toro. And he was also the author of Anything You Can Imagine, which is the Peter Jackson biography recap of his career. So yeah, we're going to have a couple of wonderful authors and guests, and even those game developers from Lord of the Rings Online. So it's going to be a great time. Thank you very much for coming up with
Ken
us.
Roseman, I agree with you. I agree with you. And the irony is not lost that you made that comment through Facebook chat. But it's an interesting world. It's Zuckerberg's world. We're just failing at it. Check us out in 2 weeks. Check us out in 2 weeks at San Diego Comic-Con. Get your tickets. They're cheaper than the summer one. So if you want to do something fun for Thanksgiving weekend, go eat turkey on Thursday, then come on down to the convention center in San Diego. Take the train. Yes. It drops you right there. And our panel's at 6 p.m. on Friday. We'll give you all the latest updates. If you're a regular viewer of the show, you probably already know it, but a lot of fans aren't. So we're going to recap everything, and maybe we'll have something new. I don't know. And then
do they even have tickets? Do they have any available tickets?
Yeah, tickets.
San Diego Comic-Con.
Tickets are wide available. And then we are 4 weeks away from the 20th anniversary of the theatrical release of Fellowship of the Ring. And boy, wouldn't you believe, we're going to try to get something magic together. Cliff, always a pleasure to have you on the show.
It's great. Oh, yeah, it's a pleasure to have me on the show. Yeah. You're funny. This is my show. You're funny, you guys. Okay. Mr. Justin, thank you again for pressing all the buttons and turning the dials over there in the control room. And to our very faithful audience, it's great to have you all here. Welcome. And everybody's in there talking about a Discord. We should have a Discord channel, right? Saw a lot of people in the
platform.
In the chat.
I don't have time to moderate another platform.
Do you know what? We can get volunteers That's what we do. We're all volunteers, anyways.
If someone
We're
wants to
all
raise their
volunteers,
hand,
anyways.
look,
Yeah.
our DMs are open. So if
Yes, they are.
If
Okay.
you think you have, yeah, someone's got to
All right.
teach me some of this Discord stuff because I just don't understand it.
That's so awesome. So we're gonna end the show with that really upbeat thank you and acknowledgement to our audience. It's great to have you all here with us, as always. And next week, we will be back right here live at 5 p.m. Pacific time on the OneRing.net for another bizarre episode, intriguing, and perhaps, a little fun on the side. Another episode of Torn Tuesday coming right at you next week. Until then, everybody, stay safe and be kind to yourselves.
Matt, what? You're in the chat room. How the heck did you get John Rhys Davies on your next episode? What? You got John Rhys Davies?
Yes, he does. Yes, that's right. Nerd of the Rings. Our good friend Matt at Nerd of the Rings is going to have Gimli himself, JRD.
Gosh.
That's right. JRD is going to be on his show. Yeah, he says we dwarves stick together. Okay, how you like that? The twirly whirlies.
Man, lucky guy. All right. You know what?
Right.
You'll get Gimli. We'll get a Tolkien. Cliff, sign us out.
Yes, we're going to have a wonderful time. Everybody, keep your eyeballs on Nerd of the Rings. He's got the best stuff. And come back and see us sometime next Tuesday, 5 p.m. Pacific time. Until then, you can follow us on all social media at the One Ring Net. You can follow myself on Instagram and Twitter at QuickBean2000. Justin, he doesn't want to be followed. So I just have to say thanks again, everybody, and we'll see you next week. Until then, good night and good luck. Or better yet, buenos noches y buena suerte. Bye, everybody.
The balcony is closed.